So hello everyone and welcome to Ava's Temple of Consciousness. I'm sending you all my love, fellow quarantiners, quarantined compatriots. I'm sitting at home. I couldn't teach my yoga class this morning because we had a torrential downpour. I'm in Florida. So yes, I teach a yoga class that I've just started in a little park right next door to where I live. So I did my first one yesterday, and I've been sitting around this morning thinking how to occupy my time most usefully. And I thought of the idea of continuing in a series of little lectures that I had created about each of the major arcana. I'd only arrived at the Empress being the third, the number 3, including the Fool, which is the number 0. That would be 4 cards that I've already done. So if you haven't seen the Empress, please go there and have a look, because this is going to be all about the Emperor. And I think that the reason that I wanted to even explore the deeper symbolic meaning, esoteric, essential meaning of the Emperor, because I think that it has some relevance to our circumstances right now. So let me display for you the Emperor. There he is in all his glory. The Emperor appears again right after the Empress. In fact, they're lovers. The Empress, she appears as a personification of nature. She represents the mysterious aspects of reality, the ever-changing, ever-growing, ever-dying energy that manifests the material world. The Emperor, on the other hand, represents the laws of nature. The mechanistic aspects of creation, the working mechanics of nature, how it's all put together aspect of nature. If we look at the card, we can see that the Emperor is a very stern, masculine figure. He represents the laws of nature, the mechanistic aspect of creation. He represents how it's all put together. He is he's in pursuit of the Empress, their lovers. He's always running after the Empress, trying to figure her out. The Emperor is a personification of rationality. He's our intellect and the stores of knowledge that have accumulated through eons of search and study. investigation of Mother Nature. So you see, the Emperor, he represents the very essence of what creates civilizations. He's the rational mind. He's motivated by his need to unravel the eternal mystery of the Empress, Mother Nature, the more distinctly feminine aspect of reality, the deep, dark, hidden aspect of our own being. That's the Empress. If we look closely at the symbols in this card, we can see and discover more insights into the nature, into the qualities that are symbolized by the Emperor. The Emperor is seated on a throne, and behind him is a granite and rock mountain range. If we contrast this, you see, with the Empress, on the other hand, has nothing but expressions of movement, growth, fertility, fecundity. She's seated comfortably on a soft pregnancy pillow. Now the Emperor sits on a square throne. Squares are very interesting because squares don't happen in nature. They're created by man. These angular lines symbolize that which is man-made, its structure, geometry, mathematics. So you see, the overall impression is of a very fixed and solid state of being. It can represent even the counting of time, the fixing and recording of time as history. It's another aspect of this card. It's about history, that which has been written down, recorded. The Emperor is very strong, noble. But he can also get lost in his abstractifications. He can let it all go to his head too easily. He can get dizzy with power once he figures out some remarkable aspect of how nature works. He can become deluded with his own power, so he can become then tyrannical. The Empress, on the other hand, as you can see, is very creative and spontaneous. And she has an inexhaustible life force whose origins are always a mystery to the Emperor, whose reasoning rational mind can never penetrate into the mystery. This lends itself to a situation in which the emperor can often become confused, egoistic, aggressive, and tyrannical, wishing to rule and overpower those who know less than he. This is the dark side of the emperor. He's fixed. He's unchangeable. Once he arrives at a particular insight or solution, he can become fixed and rigid, like the throne on which he sits. This is false rigidity and may lead to him imposing artificial rule over his own domain, over his own subjects. He may even violate the scrutiny of his own reason, as when the rules that society creates may give too much advantage to the masses. Then he becomes tyrannical. The rules change arbitrarily to frustrate and to subjugate the masses. This becomes an accepted game of rulership. So you see, the emperor can be a tyrant. And this is the cautionary warning about giving too much of your allegiance, faith, in those abstractifications. So the emperor has two faces. One in which he becomes egoistically tyrannical, and the other face in which he's the philosopher king, the one who gives shelter, security through the wisdom that he's gained, who protects, who counsels. So the emperor can also represent the conscious mind, the mind which controls and regulates behavior. So it can be about a process of learning and studying something as well. These meanings are derived from the idea that the emperor is mind, is consciousness, and all of its capacities. Using knowledge and wisdom to gain dominion and control over ourselves and the material world. It can symbolize that as well. Generally, socially, it's science. It's the rule and dominion of science. I believe we live right now in an epoch of the emperor of science. We live in the age of the emperor, and his rule is absolute. We bow down to the pronouncements of science. We pay homage to the absolute truths that are discovered and used to help humanity. We put our faith and trust in its representatives. This is where I believe we fall into a trap of becoming solidified, fixed in these abstractions, in these representations of nature. And we forget that we ourselves are nature. We place our faith and trust in the hands of scientists, politicians, economists. You see, because the emperor, in his zeal to know how the Empress functions, he mistakenly creates a fabrication, a false construct, an abstractification of nature's spontaneous genius. And always there lingers in the emperor the profound sense of sorrow that he can never, in all of eternity, achieve the effortless wisdom and joy found in the Empress, in life, in the soul, in love. So, don't fall under the spell of the emperor. Thank you. And thank you for donating to help support my efforts to bring you some of the wisdom of the tarot and the wisdom of yoga. So I appreciate all your donations, because I, like you, have become unemployed and every dollar that you send, every bit that you send helps me so much, and I appreciate it, and I'm sending you all my love. Hopefully tomorrow you can hear the storm out there, perhaps. I'll be able to teach my yoga. Thank you, and see you later.